In today's video, I'm going to be sharing with you guys what it's like to live with a Tesla Model 3 and use it as your daily driver. So I've actually owned my Model 3 for just over 1 year now, and I've put about 20,000 miles on it using it as my daily driver. With that being said, there are 3 main categories that come to mind when I try to explain what it's like living with a Tesla Model 3. The first category is what it's like to get used to an electric vehicle coming from an ICE or an internal combustion engine vehicle. Second is the charging. Can you just plug it into your garage, a standard 120 volt outlet? Will you build enough charge every night to use it as a daily driver? And lastly is maintenance. Are these cars reliable? Are you going to have to take them into the shop all the time? After driving the car for 20,000 miles, I have a lot of information to share with you guys. So let's dive right into the first category. What's it like to get used to driving a Tesla Model 3 when you're coming from a standard regular gas car? I can wholeheartedly say I do not think I will be going back to a gas car anytime soon as my daily driver. The speed, the reliability, the Sentry mode, the autopilot, all of these things you don't get in a regular car, and they are really good features. So with that being said, when you first get your Tesla Model 3 and you start driving it, the first thing you're going to notice and have to get used to is the regen brakes. As soon as you start letting off of the throttle, your car just starts to brake. Essentially think of it as Teslas do not coast. As soon as you start letting off, the car starts to brake. I rarely have to use my brakes in normal driving. When you're coming up to a red light or you need to slow down, you just lift your foot off the acceleration pedal and the car brakes for you. This is a very convenient feature of driving a Tesla, and I think you can't really fully understand it until you've experienced it yourself. Now, the second thing that you'll really have to get used to when you're driving a Tesla Model 3 is when you go to a car wash, you're going to catch a lot of flack from people. When I first got my Tesla, I hand washed the car and made sure it was done perfectly. Then I started going to a traditional car wash. This was a touch car wash. Now, not long after that, I started going to a touch-free car wash, and this is what I will continue to do in the future. This is a much less abrasive car wash to the Tesla. Nothing ever touches it, so you're not going to have any damage. And in Tesla's warranty material, it says that touch-free car washes are completely fine. However, whenever you tell someone that you take your Tesla to a car wash of any kind, their first reaction is, whoa, you take a Tesla to a car wash? And in reality, it really isn't an issue, and you kind of talk them off the ledge of why it's fine to take a Tesla to a car wash. The third thing that you will get used to when driving a Tesla Model 3 is the creep or not to creep. By default, your Tesla will come and it will not creep. What this means is it's basically like a manual car in neutral. It's not going to move forward on its own. Now what's cool is you can adjust this in your settings. So if you do want your car to creep like a regular ICE car, you can turn that setting on, but I personally find myself enjoying the car a lot better without creep turned on. Now something else that you will have to get used to when driving your Tesla Model 3 is the steering tightness. You can adjust the steering of how tight the steering wheel is from comfort, standard to sport. This is the first time in any car that I've owned that you're actually able to adjust this. So you can make it handle like a sports car in sport mode, the steering will be super tight, or you can have it handle like a pickup truck and put it in comfort where you really have to turn the wheel to stay in your lane. The next thing that you will definitely have to get used to in your Tesla is not having any keys. Now I don't want to come off as being a millennial who's saying it's too inconvenient to carry around keys, but let me just say it is so convenient to not have to worry about if you remember to bring your keys or having them in your pocket, or if you lost them. Everything is just done from your phone. And the last 2 things that you will have to get used to when driving your Tesla Model 3, first is that this car can put the power down. This Model 3 that I have is a Stealth Performance Edition. It has about 500 horsepower, and it puts it down to all 4 tires without spinning out. Now, one of my friends has a 1200 horsepower Corvette, and he drove this car and said he has never felt the acceleration pull on his chest so hard, even in his 1200 horsepower Corvette. This just goes to show how impressive Tesla really is. This car can legitimately put down all of its power, and you feel it when you put your foot through the pedal. And the last thing that you will get used to when driving your Tesla Model 3 is that your park, your drive, your neutral, your reverse is all on the right stock. So what I find myself doing is, since I daily drive this car, I'm so used to putting it into park, putting it into reverse, and drive on that stock. Whenever I get into an ICE car or a regular car, I find myself by habit using the stock on that car to try to put it into drive, and clearly that's not going to work in a regular car. Alright, now that we've covered the first section on what it's like to get used to driving a Tesla Model 3, now let's talk about the charging. So in my garage, I did not upgrade the outlet to a 240 volt outlet. I actually had intentions on doing this when I bought the Tesla Model 3, but after plugging the Tesla into the 120 volt outlet every night, I found that I was getting sufficient charge. On a standard 120 volt outlet that you'll find in your garage, you will get roughly 4 to 5 miles per hour. What this means is if you plug your car in for 10 hours at night, you're going to pick up roughly 50 miles of charge. Now oftentimes Sometimes I find myself plugging in the car in the evening and then not leaving the house first thing in the morning, and all of a sudden I've picked up 14 or 16 hours of charge. As long as you're driving somewhere between 50 and 80 miles per day and no more than that, you will never have any issues and you won't need to upgrade your 120 volt outlet. Now, in the event that you are going to drive somewhere further than usual, you can just stop by a supercharger station and top off. Realistically, it'll only take you a few minutes and it's a pretty fun experience to go to the superchargers. Alright, just like that, we're on to the last section of this video, talking about maintenance of a Tesla and how reliable they really are. So first things first, Teslas are extremely reliable, and that's got to be one of my favorite things about the car. Because Teslas are electric vehicles and fundamentally different than gas cars, it gives them this huge advantage of being able to go supercar speeds. Without blowing through clutches or doing damage to the transmission, Teslas just deliver a ton of performance with extremely high reliability. Now, to prove this even further, a lot of supercar owners, you will find that they daily drive a Tesla. They take their supercars out on the weekends not to rack up a ton of miles, but when they're daily driving, they're doing it in a Tesla. There are multiple reasons for this, but the main ones come down to you're going to get the same speed of a supercar, except you're going to have a ton more reliability and features like autopilot, and the car is going to be silent and not attract as much attention as when you're driving a supercar. The attention and the noise may be great on weekends, sporadically, but it's not something that you want as a daily driver. That's what ultimately makes Teslas perfect daily drivers. Now, with all of that being said, there is a normal maintenance schedule on a Tesla, so I can't say that there is no maintenance to be done on a Tesla. However, these are normal things for normal cars, like brakes and having your fluids changed. I've put together a chart for the maintenance that covers everything that you need to know. I'll link to it down in the description, but essentially the maintenance is completely normal, and you're not going to be paying supercar prices for this maintenance. Further, if anything does break on the car, 80% of things can be fixed by a Tesla tech coming out to your driveway, and the other 20% of things, the bigger things, you'll have to take your car into a Tesla service center. But with that being said, Teslas come with extremely good warranties. If you're buying a new Tesla, it's going to come with a 4-year or 50,000 mile standard warranty. Now, in addition to that, the battery and drive unit have different warranties depending on which model you buy. If you own a standard range Model 3 or Model Y, you are going to have a 8-year, 100,000 mile warranty on your battery and drive unit. If you have a long range or performance Model 3 or Model Y, it increases by 20,000 miles. So you have an 8-year, 120,000 mile warranty on your battery and drive unit. Now, even better than that, if you have a Model S or a Model X, you have an 8-year, 150,000 mile warranty on your battery and drive unit. Now, the warranties on Teslas are not limited to new Teslas. So if you buy a used Tesla, you still get a warranty. Here's what that looks like. If you buy any used Tesla, it's going to come with the remainder of the 4-year, 50,000 mile standard warranty. Now, if the used Tesla that you're buying is more than 4 years old and there's no warranty left, Tesla will give you 1 year and 10,000 miles on the car, just to give you peace of mind knowing that when you buy a used car, it's still coming with a warranty. Now, also, don't forget, if you're buying a used Tesla, it's going to come with the remainder of the 8-year or X amount of mile battery and drivetrain warranty. Now, if you're in the market to buy a new Tesla, I recently made a video on 7 real things that I wish I knew before buying my Tesla, so I highly recommend watching that video. I'll link it up on the side. I'll also put it down in the description to make it easy for you guys to find. Alright, I hope this video has been helpful. Feel free to share it with someone who needs this information, and I'll see you all in the next video.